So everything that we make is 12, 18, and 24 karat gold-plated titanium. We make it out of titanium because it's the strongest, lightest, most long-lasting material that you can make glasses from.
Hence heirloom.
Correct. We plate it in gold not to be fancy, but so you can put it in the boat down here at Newport Harbor for the next 30 years and it won't corrode over time. Nice. And so we started getting really obsessed with heirloom design. My wife and I spend a lot of time at estate sales, and you're like, well, what's an estate sale? And you're like, well, that'd be stuff that people paid money for that has endured the test of time and is worth selling, at the end, in a world of
that
cheap
has lasted.
Yeah.
We'll hammer.
So it's really cool, Shane. I was talking to your wife earlier, and you used to design for Louis Vuitton. I happen to have not one, but 2 pairs in my closet, and I've got a beautiful place for my sunglasses. I'm a little freaky about sunglasses. You designed both of them. That's very cool.
Thank you.
They're going to be a lot more special to me when I'm wearing them now, I got to tell you.
I tell you what, I learned a lot working for that company, and most importantly, right when I started, I was able to spend 2 days at the family house looking through the archives of everything that they had designed over the course of the last 100-ish years, and it really taught me a lot about building stuff with inherent value and of heirloom quality and designs that can stand the test of time. And so it was a really interesting 2 days just looking at everything that had been created throughout the course of that company's history.
They were not the house of Versace. They didn't explode. They kept moving and marching forward.
Oh, I think it's an important thing to think about in luxury. Luxury moves slowly, and they don't sell out. And we were talking about surf brands and stuff,
right.
Earlier. I mean, you can stay the course if you're not lured by money.
Well, greed kills a lot of great concepts and designs, but it's a necessity. You have to have greed in there to make entrepreneurs work for it. I mean, I understand that it's also your desire for you designing and having a great product, but most people, they jump into entrepreneurship because they know it's a fast lane if you're good.
Well, I mean, that's a big topic. I mean, that starts talking about, you hear a lot of people talking about an exit, and you're like, well, what is an exit? And we were talking about what is it to retire? I mean, what do? Do you spend 3 weeks on the beach in Cancun sucking down, Mai Tais, and somehow that's, retirement? And so I guess you have to figure out your long-term strategy. It's, for some people, it might be passing the keys on to your kids and letting them have the brand run, for a few hundred years.
I love that, and that's the way it should be. But like for an old dog like me, I'm going to keep running around that track until I fall dead on it.
Well, that's exactly it. Your retirement is doing what you love. I mean, the master at the art of living.
Exactly.
Are you going on a tiki tour soon?
I'm going to go on a bus tour. It's let's get hammered, and there'll be a lot of alcohol involved, I'm sure. Hey, you know what? To all you young folks out there, I got to tell you, when you start out, working is kind of tough, and you kind of don't like it that much. But as you get older, and you get those years behind you, and you become more and more successful, like Shane, work is beautiful.
I agree, and I tell people, make yourself so valuable that the company has to pay you. And I've seen that happen over and over, and it's usually like the person that and I'll tell you, you can't underestimate how older people will say, like, you see how quickly that kid took out the trash and did anything asked of them, and they show up early and they stay late and they work weekends and they're never closed off. You're like, that person has management potential, and at some point you'll see, like in upper management meetings, you'll just go like, we can't lose that kid. And that's when you start getting paid. And it's 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x of what you did when you started.
This sounds ridiculous, but the old military saying, we got the general in the audience here, you get up, the first thing you do is you make your bed. So that's the first thing you've accomplished for the day. And then you base your accomplishments off of that. And if you keep being principled that way, you'll keep going. you know, that you just keep those accomplishments going. And it's not hard to do if you've got heart and you put into it, like yourself.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it's just, you know, at the end of every day, you kind of can gauge your, you know, what you really achieved. And it's not like you didn't make your career in a day. It's just kind of a matter of moments where you said, like, I attended to the important things. I was focused, and I did what I could. And, you know, hopefully, I mean, that helps you sleep well. You know, it's just, you know that you did the best you could.
So Shane has worked for all these huge companies, and he's got his own company here in California, and it's a heirloom design type company and a sunglass company, Leisure Society. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, after spending time, you know, at Louis Vuitton, and they asked to move my family to Paris, and the kids were small at the time, so that wasn't going to happen. And all my mentors said, like, look, your resume is not going to get any better, so you might as well make your own brand. And so Leisure Society for me was a social club, and, you know, coming from a metropolis of 2,500, and you know, belonging to a country club there, which consisted of 9 holes of golf, 2 sand traps, shirts optional. $300 a year.
I would like to know where that country club is. That sounds like a good time.
Pretty swanky.
Yeah.
Pretty swanky. But no, I mean, coming from a relatively unsophisticated environment, I would have a social club, and I would do funny things that were like more akin to old money. And so we had a social group called Leisure Society. And so, you know, we'd go to opening day at Del Mar and, you know, dress up in our 3-piece suits and just try to do more cultural things that I thought were interesting. And I really realized, you know, after moving to California, and we talked about that briefly, that there's a lot of opportunity here to be part of a lot of different subcultures. For example, surfing's a subculture, you know, and all you have to do is paddle out and wear some board shorts and some flip-flops, and, you know, you're kind of into that culture. I was really into punk rock when I moved out here, and I realized that even though I was...
Oh, you're the guy. Got it. All right. That was him. Okay.
No, but I realized that, you know, even though I was like an altar boy from a town in the Midwest, you know, in the middle of corn town, that
To punk rock.
yeah,
Okay.
that if I just wore a white T-shirt and jumped off the stage, that they kind of accepted me too. So, you know, really like understanding that these subcultures are relatively open-armed, whether you're going, you know, to opening day at the horse races, but you have to dress the part, and you would have to seem as though you knew something about horse racing or whatever. But the subculture thing has been very interesting to me through the times that I've spent here. There's so many different subcultures.
And by the way, guys, you don't have to know anything about horse racing. You just have to bring your wallet. That's Del Mar will suck that up real quick.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the funny ones that I went to, I woke up one morning and I had daddy-daughter day with my oldest. And so I was reading the newspaper, and it said, you know, the Breeders' Cup is, you know, up in California at Santa Anita.
Right.
And I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, she was probably like 6 at the time. And I'm like, she loves horses. She's obsessed with horses. And I like drinking and gambling. This seems like a match made in
I
heaven.
want to take my daughter for an outing.
I'm like, come on, sweetheart, we're going. So
I'm sorry we're doing this 7 days a week, but hey, you know.
yeah. So anyway, getting back to the to Leisure Society, it was a social club that I had, and so I would just have more friends. And I remember I sent this elaborate invitation to go to opening day at Del Mar, and felt weird coming from me, the kid from 2,500 people in Iowa. And so on the top of it, I wrote, by order of the Royal and Ancient Leisure Society. And it just became an official organization. So when I started the brand, then it was, you know, coming off the heels of Louis Vuitton. It was like, you can call it half ego or half inspiration, but I'm like, I'm gonna make the best of the best. And so every decision that we made going into this collection was, what's the best that we could make it?
But to be a successful designer, guys, you have to have an ego. Period. I mean, it's very important. That's part of your thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to be the best, I mean,
Then don't have an ego.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple.
Well, it's funny because there's the ego and then there's the super ego. And so they always say the ego is based on competency. And so, if I can be good at this, you can say, like, I'm good at this.
See, we've got our super ego on the show, and it's Adam, but,
Yeah, ripe with it over
yeah,
here.
right with it over there.
Delusion can go so far.
Yeah.
Don't stop till you get enough.
I'd say it's probably gone like 12 inches. I don't know.
So, what was your first thing you designed? How did you break out of this thing? Once you left Louis Vuitton, what were you sitting in the street? What were you doing?
No, we sat there and said, like I said, you can call it half ego or half inspiration, but I mean, like, I wanted to make, like something that that looked luxurious without screaming, "Look at me," or being too ostentatious. Wanted to make something that was instantly recognizable, and I always think that good design is, for example, I used Porsche earlier. I mean, a Porsche, the 356 looks like the 911, looks like the Panamera, looks like the Cayenne. I mean, like, good design should be able to go through the whole product line and be instantly recognizable. And so if you're a Porsche guy, you're a Porsche guy, which in the review mirror,
There's a few in there.
there's a few in there.
Now, I wanted to know a little bit, not to cut you off.
That's okay, yeah.
But a little bit about the Key Club concept.
So everything that we make is 12, 18, and 24 karat gold-plated titanium. We make it out of titanium because it's the strongest, lightest, most long-lasting material that you can make glasses from.
Hence heirloom.
Correct. We played it in gold not to be fancy, but so you can put it in the boat down here at Newport Harbor for the next 30 years and it won't corrode over time. Nice. And so we started getting really obsessed with heirloom design. My wife and I spend a lot of time at estate sales, and you're like, well, what's an estate sale? And you're like, well, that'd be stuff that people paid money for that has endured the test of time and is worth selling, at the end, in a world of
That
cheap
has
fashion.
lasted.
Yeah.
It's like a yard sale, but no foreclosure.
That's exactly it. I have a friend that owns storages. He goes, you'd be shocked how many people will pay $100 a month to house $50 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, my co-host is on Storage Wars.
Okay.
Brandy, she'll be here any minute, but that's all they do is buy storage lockers, and people, like you said, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Great mentality for the storage people, though.
I get it. I'm a horader. Things are so sentimental. I mean, they can't throw them away.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, okay, I got to have everything right where I want it. The people come over and they go, wow, everything's I said, I'm getting old. I can't remember shit. I got to have it where I need it. The keys have got to be where, my sunglasses have got to be where,
Well, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
You can ask my wife on that one. I'm like, one place for everything.
Yeah.
One place for the keys.
Yeah.
One place. And if you designate that place, then your life can be in order.
And no laughing at us old guys, because you young folks, you're going to get there.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
So getting back to the inspiration of the company, everything that we make is 12, 18, 24 karat gold-plated titanium, best-in-class lenses. The lenses are all polarized. There's a 12-layer anti-reflective coating. We have diamond cast scratch resistance on the outside, so they're literally as hard as glass when it comes to scratching. There's a hydrophobic coating, which doesn't seem important until you're sailing here in the harbor and you
Right.
get splashed by some waves and it comes off like a freshly waxed car.
Nice.
And they come in a leather case and with a lifetime warranty. And so the lifetime warranty was really important to me because it's like with throwaway fashion, nobody stands behind their product nowadays, and I think there's a real need for products of inherent value that really last and will stand the test of time. Now there is a caveat. The warranty is only covered if they're in the case or on your face. So if you wear them with your ass, they're not covered in the warranty.
Got it. Well, the interesting thing about this is there's so many crappy sunglasses out there. And that's what people do. They go, I'll spend $100, $50 for a pair of glasses, no big deal. But you're going to regret that down the road because they're not protecting you the way they need to. And they look like everybody else's. You want to be a little unique.
I'll tell you what, they go on the most important part of your body, on your face. And so there's been a real push, kind of a mass marketing to people to have the mentality of saying, I'm going to wear something that's not of quality on my face. But but it's really unusual. People will wear nice jewelry, they'll wear nice watches, and for some reason, putting, something that's not very well built on their face has become the norm.
My wife always asked me to wear these big Harry Carey glasses. I think she goes, "Well, I don't have to see your face." And I mean, it's like, yeah, Harry Carey. Can you imagine making some of those?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, glasses can be iconic over the course of time. So,
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
to have an Elton John or, a John Lennon, I mean, there's some iconic models that really define who people are.
Very true.
Yeah. So, and that's interesting because when you put something on, I mean, you're literally looking in the mirror and saying, like, who am I? Who do I want to be perceived as? And I always tell people you should have an arsenal. If you want to be the '70s party guy, you need to have an aviator with gradient lenses.
Yeah, you cannot have one pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to have it. Sorry, guys, but you got to have a whole bunch of them for a different whatever you're doing, right? If you're in the cowboy, you got to have one thing. If you're in a suit, you got to have another one. If you're, doing the Bob Marley thing, you got to do something else. It's just you have to have a lot of sunglasses.
You're hired.
This is a topic that I didn't know much about, and it's really interesting to me to learn about sunglasses and great designs. And this product isn't a what do we call that, Adam? A boner pill?
A gas station product?
Yeah. This is the real deal.
These are no golden rhinos you're going to find sitting back next to the pocket shots, y'all. This is proper eyewear here.
And what's cool about it is you might buy this beautiful sunglasses here, or glasses that I'm holding now. The nice thing about it is you get to pass them down to your kids just like you do with that gold watch. And that's what makes it cool. I absolutely have a pair of Persols that my old man had, and those are extremely dear to me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I didn't make glasses for a living, I would wear Persols. Although the older quality, in my estimation, is a little bit better than is what is coming out now. But that's a beautiful old brand, and congrats to your old man for making good decisions, because those were beautifully made, and the technology at the time was incredible.
But that's what you're doing here. It's heirloom. I mean, you pass it on. Like I said, the watch.
Yeah.
You're wearing a Rolex. That's going to go to the kids when you're, shuffling off in a nice black wagon.
Yeah, 100%. As long as I can get them both through college, I mean, and don't have to pawn
sell
it.
that damn thing.
No, but I think there's something nice about it, and it's funny because oftentimes people will say, our retail price points are between 500 and up to 4,000. All limited edition, numbered, serial numbers, everything else, and collectible. But we have people say like, well, geez, I always lose my sunglasses, and I have a really bad joke for that. I always say like, that's great news. It's good for marketing and it's good for sales.
Exactly.
But anyway, on the other end of that, it's surprising when you buy product at this price point. They will last forever. You can pass it on to the kids, and you do treat it differently.
When you're paying $500 for a pair of sunglasses, you're not going to lose them.
I'll tell you when it happens. There's always a thing, like if you're day drinking going into evening, there's where the problem is.
I'm screwed.
Come on, Hammer. It's only Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm already started, so we're in trouble. Guys, if you want to look cool, and you want your kids to look cool, very cool, check it out. LeisureSociety.com. Be cool.